2025. We are going to get started in a few. We are waiting for our mayor and one of our honorees. Once they arrive, we will begin the recognition portion of the meeting. I apologize that we're running a little behind, but one of our honorees hasn't made it as yet, and we are also waiting for our mayor. So thank you, and thank you all for being here today. We are going to begin our meeting now with the presentation portion of the meetings. I am joined by my colleagues, Commissioner Pardo, Commissioner Gabella, Commissioner Carollo, I just saw him a second ago, and our mayor, Francis Suarez. And I'm going to turn the mic over to the mayor to begin our presentation portions.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me let him do it.
Okay.
Do you want to say a few words about Council Chambers? No, I'll just put a...
You want me to hold this for you?
Sure. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I can do this. Thank you. It is really an immense pleasure, something I could not miss, to recognize Apostle Chambers. Apostle Chambers has been such an impactful and important leader in the city of Miami and in Miami-Dade County. His work and his ministry with the Believers of Authority, events like the Back to the Hood Youth Empowerment event, and his leadership over many, many, many years of the Ministerial Alliance, we would just really like to take this opportunity for someone who just became 70 years young to give him the keys to the city of Miami. It was a surprise.
This is the best when you don't know and it's a surprise, because they would never agree to this for their humility. We are also joined by former Commissioner Ken Russell. I saw him just a second ago. Where are you? Come. Would you like to join us? As this would mean a lot to you as well. Come on.
Wow, this is far and beyond my imagination. I really want to say thank you so much. You know, when the Lord have you doing something, it doesn't really seem like a job. It's really good. It's just what you do. And the funny thing is, I tried to leave Miami 4 times and had to come back. I wanted to live in California. Boy, God knew I sure didn't want to be up there with those fires. Okay? But thank you so much. I'll treasure this for life. And just realize my steps are really ordered by God. And may I continue to be a blessing to the city of Miami and all its constituents. Thank you.
So the next set of honors is we are extolling the virtues of our Miami Police Department, who was recently in Washington, D.C. on a very, very, very cold day for the inauguration of the President of the United States on January 20th, 2025. And I can tell you I was there, and it was extremely cold, and they were outside when a lot of the festivities were inside. And so we want to thank them for their participation. We want to thank them for always, thank you guys, for always participating and being called to action by our nation in a variety of different contexts, whether it's a political convention, whether it's a presidential inauguration, whatever the case may be. Our officers travel from Miami, from their comforts of their warm homes, to often very, very substandard conditions in the cold. And I've seen some of their living conditions too, in some of the places where they have to stay with no air conditioning, etc. So we just want to commend them, and I'm going to give them each an individual proclamation, but we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to commend them as a group, and then I'll give the chief the mic, and I'll give him the proclamation so he can distribute it out to his officers. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. And what you see here is a group of all volunteers. It's a long tradition of the Miami Police Department to answer the call for assistance. And since I've been here in 1994, we've had a track record of always sending a group to represent the Miami Police Department and to assist our fellow law enforcement agencies up in D.C. during the inaugurations. This year, our group was led by Assistant Chief Chiquita Butler. So I'll let her say a few words on how it felt, what it was like, and how it is to be part of one of our most sacred and protected duties to defend democracy. So, Assistant Chief.
Thank you. So these group of individuals that you see standing here, there's a few of them missing. But let me tell you, they went and they were able to withstand such frigid temperatures. Now, you know, coming from South Florida, we had no idea exactly what we were walking into. But not one time did they complain. Not one time did they say, I don't want to go back out. Not one time did they say, Chief, I need to sit down longer. Each time in their rotations, they got up with enthusiasm and they went back out to serve their country. I felt so patriotic in that moment. I felt that it was my patriotic duty to protect and serve. And it felt great to do it amongst more than 10,000 other officers from around the country. We enjoyed every minute of it, and just the bonding that I had with these guys, I will never forget. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for standing there with me and being beside me during this time. I only have about two more years to go. And I wanted to do it, and the chief allowed me to do it, and it felt great to do it, this group of guys standing behind me. So thank you guys so very much.
Well, I don't believe it's a secret that I am one of the biggest supporters of our men in blue, our men and women in blue, because I can never forget our ladies out there doing it. They do what they do, and they never disappoint. I get a text message from the chief almost every day about how they have done something to keep the streets of District 5 safe, and I know all of my colleagues, I hope, get the same text. I know they do. And they're just amazing. I cannot say enough about our men and women in blue, and I am honored to serve with you. I am truly honored to serve with you. And I hope that I show you that all the time through my actions and my interactions with you.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Okay, we want to give a proclamation to a person that helps District 1 a lot. City of Miami proclamation, whereas one in 3 teens in the U.S. experiences some kind of abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, from someone they're romantically involved with. And about 40% of college women report experiencing abusing dating behaviors. Whereas teenagers who are in violent relationships are also more likely to be in unhealthy or abusive relationships later in life. Whereas dating abuse resonates in our community to an unmeasurable extent, affecting not only the parties involved, but also entire families and communities. Whereas community violence prevention initiatives are indispensable to prevent teen dating violence from happening. Whereas the Honeycomb House is committed to address this social issue by standing up against violence and sending a positive message of peace and safety to our young adults community. Now, therefore, I, Francis Suarez Miguel Angel, Commissioner, do hereby recognize and commend the Honeycomb House for their outstanding contributions to the City of Miami. Would you come up, please?
So one of my favorite things to do as mayor, guys in the front, is to recognize the extraordinary work of our employees. I was a city employee. I worked in the Parks Department when I was a kid. And actually, it's interesting because Christy Duarte, who we're recognizing today, who began in Miami Parks in 2011, was a lifeguard, which is what I was. I was a lifeguard for the city many years ago. I'm 47 now. I was like 16, 17, so 30 years ago. And as park manager, Christy has successfully transformed Antonio Maceo Park, into a vibrant hub for older adults, establishing a highly popular active adults program. In her current role as Special Projects Coordinator, she's been instrumental in the development of the new park, collaborating effectively with the Capital Division to organize groundbreakings and ribbon-cutting ceremonies. By the way, they were phenomenal, those ceremonies. They were great. Thank you. And her partnership with the city's grants, planning, budget, and procurement departments have ensured the seamless funding and execution of vital projects. It is with great pleasure that we congratulate Christy as being selected as one of NRPA's 30 Under 30 recipients. And so we want to commend her for her great work. And we have a phenomenal Parks Department that every day is delivering services, is providing an incredibly important, infinitely valued asset to our community, and one that we all cherish and want to see at its highest and best use. Thank you, Christy, for all the work that you do.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Evans. I'm the director of our City of Miami Parks Department. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your kind words. I remember we were talking about Christy when we had our leadership summit earlier last year. Mr. Mayor was one of our keynote speakers. Mr. Manager was one of our keynote speakers. A lot of what you talked about was legacy and making sure that we do things the right way and make sure that we're honoring our Parks Department. This journey kind of began a couple of years ago when we had Barbie, our assistant city manager, was our Parks director. She really charged us to make sure our master plan happened, make sure we continue to be nationally recognized as a department that does great things in our city. And Christy is just another example of that as our 30 Under 30 recipient. She was honored in our national magazine, the national magazine for the entire Parks Department. as being on the cover, so I thought it was a great opportunity to make sure we congratulate her and continue to do great things for our Parks Department. So congratulations, Christy, and thank you all.
Thank you. Now, the next honor that I'm privileged to bestow, I get to bestow on someone who I've gotten to know over 10 years. And when I think of this person, there are two words that come to mind: excellence and vision. For a city which we consider an ecosystem to succeed, certainly its government has to be proactive. It has to have great employees like we've celebrated today in our police department and our parks department. But it's important also that it has people in the private sector that really care, our citizens, our residents that really care and are willing to give back and are willing to dream and are willing to push us sometimes, because things don't happen accidentally. They happen with momentum. They happen with force of will. They happen when people have ideas and follow through on those ideas and are dogged about accomplishing those ideas. Nick came to me, I remember, I think I was a commissioner at the time. So I was been mayor now for almost 8 years. So this was probably 10 years ago or more. And he said, we don't really have a world-class skate park in our city. And, underneath the 95, which was managed at the time by our city manager, at the at the MPA, he said we can do a really, really cool, really interesting, really unique skate park. I said, sounds great to me. It sounds amazing. Come on up, Nick. And obviously, those things are not done without resources. And one of the first things that Nick and his family did was donate a significant amount of resources to make it a reality. And with the help of the MPA, and I have to acknowledge Art's role, Art also had the vision and the ability to execute and to try something different, because we didn't really utilize, the underlying hadn't existed. This idea of taking these underutilized areas and investing in them, it didn't exist at the time. And so gives me great privilege to be able to recognize Nick Catz for his work. Put up your phones, baby. Put up your phones. Put up your phones. You can stand. You can stand. There you go. Nice. Soak it in, baby. Soak it in. Soak it in. Here you go. And his family, by the way.
Thank you. Wow. My wife told me to project, so I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak into the microphone. I'm going to put this down for a second.
It's not going anywhere.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like you were said, 10 years ago I came into these halls, and you were the first person that I met with. I came into your office, and you sat me down. I showed you a presentation, and you had just come back from Portugal, I think it was, and your kids had seen skateboarding for the first time. They had seen a skate park. It was on like a malecon somewhere in Lisbon, and when I presented you the idea, the first thing you said to me was, let's do it, without hesitation. And you were the first yes that I got in a big series of yeses that would lead to Lot 11. And I am immeasurably indebted to you for that first yes. When I heard that I was going to get the key to the city, the fact that you would be bestowing it upon me, as well as Mr. Noriega, who without him none of this would ever have happened. Please give it up for Art. Thank you, Art. Seriously. I was really, really, really happy, and what an honor. I mean, this is the administration that I hoped would give it to me, so thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to my parents and my brothers for their incredible support and generosity. To my beautiful wife, Tiffany, thank you for being there for me and, you know, helping me through all the difficult times. All my friends and family that are here, my staff from Andrew, Richie F's, who puts in the long hours to make sure that Lot 11 is clean and that all the problems are sorted out. And everybody else who came out, thank you so much. This is an incredible honor, and maybe one day you'll see me up here with the rest of you. So,
Madam Chair. Hello. Madam Chair. Hello.
I kind of like the sound of that.
It is not God, it's me. Madam Chair, I want to add that Nick has been a great addition to DDA. I mean, he's been fantastic, and I'm so proud to be serving with him. Congratulations, Nick. Congratulations.
I was going to say,
and thank you, Christina Crespi and the DDA staff, the DDA board. Commissioner Reyes, thank you so much for believing in me and giving me a seat on the board. It's really incredible. I'm really happy to be able to serve my community in downtown Miami, so thanks so much.
Commissioner, I just want to say we heard you loud and clear. So thank you for your comments on that, and I like the guayabera that you're wearing with that logo. It looks really nice.
It was given to me by a person that I really like and I respect a lot. It happens to be the mayor of the city, man.
Thanks. Can I call the kids? Do you mind? Okay. Okay. Can I call them up because they came to see me?
The mayor and I were just having a fight about the young folks that have joined us today because he wants to call them up. And I was like, no, I want to call them up. Today we have Bridge Prep Academy. There's a compromise, and I'd like them to come and join me when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. So come on up. This is a whole civics class. You know, they get to see government in action. And we always want to celebrate our kids. Great minds think alike. And at this time, we are going to begin the meeting with prayer, as we always do. And we have today Pastor James Paul Jr. of St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church that is going to lead us in prayer. And then after the prayer, the kids are going to say the Pledge of Allegiance with us. Pastor?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we come before you today in reverence and gratitude, acknowledging that you are God who reigns supreme over all of creation. We acknowledge not only that you are God, but we acknowledge that you are good. Your goodness is evident in every aspect of our lives, and for that we give you praise. You have been good to us because you have protected us from dangers seen and unseen. You've been good to us because you have been our provider. You've been good to us, Father, because you have been our healer, our restorer of our minds, our bodies, and our souls. We thank you for being good. Not only do we thank you for being good, God, we thank you, and we come before you this morning with hearts filled with gratitude. David said in Psalms 103, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not his benefits." So we thank you, Father, for the gift of life. We thank you this morning for your unfailing love. We thank you, Father, for your strength. We thank you, Father, that we're able to stand in this place to do the work that you have called us to do. We ask, oh God, in this meeting that your presence will be with those who are gathered this morning, that you will bless us with wisdom, and that you will bless us with guidance. We pray that you will continue to strengthen us. Father, we pray for our mayor. We pray for our chairwoman. We pray for the commissioners, and we pray for every public servant that has been entrusted to do this great work. We speak your peace upon them. We speak your grace to them. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Thank you. And this time, we're going to have Bridge Prep Academy join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Come, start it off. You know the Pledge of Allegiance. Turn the flag. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, of liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And at this time, we are going to get our meeting started with a statement from the city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. George Weissong, City Attorney. Detailed information about the processes, order of business, rules of procedure, and scheduling or rescheduling of City Commission meetings can be found in Chapter 2, Article 2 of the City Code, a copy of which is available online at www.municode.com. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at www.municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the Office of City Clerk or online at www.municode.com. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at www.miamigov.com. The meeting of the Miami City Commission is a limited public forum. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 10:10 and remain open until public comment is closed by the chairperson. Any person making offensive remarks or who becomes unruly in the City Commission chambers will be barred from further attending City Commission meetings and may be subject to arrest. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted. No signs or placards shall be allowed in the Commission chambers. Persons exiting the Commission chambers shall do so quietly. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials, their staff, and city administration throughout the day so that elected officials may consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials, their staff, and city administration up until the chairperson closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided here live at City Hall at 3500 Pan American Drive, subject to any and all rules as they may be amended. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state their name, their address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. The City has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.01144C Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney's office on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of an item considered at this meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at www.miamigov.com. Planning and zoning items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. Parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the City Clerk. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.0115 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 and in the City Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. The applicant will present its application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Pursuant to advisory legal opinion, AGO 2020-03, issued on March 19, 2020, the Florida Attorney General opined that, consistent with prior Attorney General opinions, a member of a local governing body who is physically unable to attend a meeting because of medical treatment or due to medical reasons may participate and vote in meetings where a quorum of other members was physically present. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Mr. City Clerk, would you please read your statement and any other information that we need to be aware of?
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individuals who will be providing testimony to be sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The members of City staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and or quasi-judicial items. Commissioners, are you comfortable with all the notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules and procedures we have established for this meeting?
Yes.
And thank you, Chair. May I administer the oath for the planning and zoning items?
Please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If we will be speaking on any of the planning and zoning items, the PZ items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give at today's hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, do you have any items that will be deferred or withdrawn from this agenda?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. RE4 to be deferred to March 13th. FR1 to be deferred to February 27th. AC1 to be deferred to February 27th. DI4 to be withdrawn. And PZ7 to be deferred to July 24th. That concludes the items.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have any items that they would like to withdraw or defer. Vice Chair?
Not at this time.
Commissioner Cabela?
No, the only thing I wanted to say, if we can do one of the first items, the RE6, because the gentleman is here, and I think I talked to you.
RE6?
Yeah.
Okay, but we have to. Oh,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Pardo?
No, none.
Commissioner Reyes, are there any items that you would like to have deferred?
No, ma'am, I don't have it.
Okay, at this time, may I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Chair, my apologies if I may. During the order of the day, I would just like to state Commissioner Gabella will be co-sponsoring RE13 and RE14. Commissioner Pardo will be co-sponsoring RE7. Commissioner Reyes will be co-sponsoring RE6. Commissioner Pardo has a pocket resolution urging President and Homeland Security Secretary to maintain TPS designations for law-abiding nationals of El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and other designated countries while conditions persist that preclude their safe return. Commissioner Croyo has a pocket item, a resolution pertaining to the acquisition of real property located at 1702 and 1714 West Flagler Street. And Commissioner Reyes has a pocket resolution. It's a grant of easement to FPL for the city-owned property located at 7121 Southwest 3rd Street. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a second pocket item that I will be presenting. Well, in this meeting. Not,
Oh, do you want to present it now?
if you like, I'll present it now, but
Does
it
the
could be at
city
any time.
does the city attorney have it so we could
Yes.
read it into the record
Yes.
and it be considered for public comments?
Yes.
Ready? This is the additional pocket item, a resolution on the Miami City Commission urging President Donald J. Trump and the United States Secretary of Homeland Security to maintain temporary protected status designations for law-abiding nationals of certain countries, calling for a comprehensive review of conditions in TPS designated nations before any policy changes, directing the city clerk to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to certain officials, providing for an effective date. And there's additional language, if you'd like me to read that.
Please.
Yes. Whereas the City of Miami urges the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to thoroughly assess the situations in these countries and take into account all perspectives. Wait, that's the wrong section. I'm sorry. The additional section is whereas the City of Miami likewise urges the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to apprehend and deport any illegal immigrant that has been convicted of committing crimes to any American resident or property. So that is pocket item.
And I'm going to get to that just right now. So, Chair, I was going to just, if it's the will of the body, PI1 will be Commissioner Pardo's pocket item. PI2 will be Commissioner Carroyo's pocket item regarding the acquisition of property. PI3 will be Commissioner Carroyo's other pocket item regarding TPS. And then PI4 would be Commissioner Reyes' pocket item.
Okay.
So PI 1 through 4.
Can you describe the other pocket items, please?
Yes. So Commissioner Pardo has a pocket item. It's a pocket resolution urging the President and Homeland Security Secretary.
All right.
Okay. You have your two pocket items.
Yes, and Commissioner Reyes?
And then Commissioner Reyes has a pocket resolution granting, it's a grant of easement to FPL for the city-owned property located at 7121.
That's fine. Thank you.
Do we need a motion for those?
No, I think what we'll do is after the public comment period, then you can vote on all those pocket items afterwards.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to open public comment for RE6 only. Anyone here to speak on behalf of RE6, the code designation for Reverend Guillermo Way? Anyone here to come?
Good morning. Brenda Betancourt, 1436 Southwest 6th Street. In support of RE6, Reverend has always been with us. And as a non-Cuban citizen of this city, I have always received the support of the Reverend. He's been part of the community in all the different English that we live here. And he's always been there. He's always supporting us, and he's always there to answer a call every time that we need him. So to me, I think it's an honor for us to have done these proclamations and dedication of his time. I think it's more than right to do it. So he's always there for us, and I hope that him and all his family will receive this as a thank you from all the citizens in the city of Miami. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on behalf of RE6?
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning to all. Miguel Soliman, 1436 Southwest 6th Street. I'm here in support of RE6. Commissioner, Reverend Guillermo Revuelta has always been a pillar in our community. He has been an exceptional individual, and he has always served and dedicated his life to serving. Therefore, I think it's It's a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to stand up here and support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Seeing no one else for public
Madam
comment
Chair.
on RE6?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Reyes.
Yes, I want to add to all the things that Guillermo Revuelta, Reverendo Guillermo Revuelta, through the years, I've said over 40 some years, he has been always there for the community, not only for the Cuban community, for all the communities. Every time that there is an act, every time that they need an invocation, he is there. And he has been a pillar to this community. And that's why I am co-sponsoring it. I congratulate Commissioner Gabela for his initiative, and I will vote for it. And it's an honor to me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on RE6 at this time? Seeing none, public comment period is closed for RE6. At this time, may I have a motion?
Motion, and before I make the motion, just wanted to say that it's an honor for me to honor Guillermo. He's out there, Guillermo. And it's an honor for me because he's always, like Manolo said, and Commissioner Reyes said, and everybody that spoke, he's always been active in our community, helping wherever he can. So it's an honor for me in my office to do this street name. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion.
Madam Chair, because it's somewhat of a surprise to the honoree, could I just read the title?
Please.
RE6, a resolution of the Miami City Commission by 4/5 affirmative vote pursuant to Section 54-137 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended City Code, waiving the restrictions related to street renaming contained therein, co-designating Northwest 15th Street from Northwest 33rd Avenue to Northwest 37th Avenue as Reverend Guillermo A. Revuelta Way, honoring his contributions to the City of Miami and the greater Miami area, further directing the City Clerk to transmit a copy of the resolution to the herein designated officials.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Reverend. I look forward to attending the street naming ceremony. Thank you. And at this time, I'm going to open public comment for items that are on the agenda today. Commissioner Russell, hello.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's been a few years. It's an honor to be here, and I'm very happy to see all of you. Unfortunately, I'm not here on good news. RE14 is an effort to break the promises of Miami Freedom Park. At this very lectern 7 years ago, David Beckham stood and made the promise to us and the city. He said, I am doing this for your children and your children's children. And his development partners made the promise to us, which resulted in legislation, which was our promise to the city. And the mayor signed that legislation, which created a lease. And part of that promise is, for the land that was going to be taken up, the green space that would disappear for the stadium, we would find, rezone, and fund new parks throughout the city. We identified those 4 parks, and they are in districts throughout. And we rezoned those parks, and we funded it with half of the $20 million contribution. Now, Commissioner Gabela, it has been an honor to watch you over this last year. As people underestimate your character and intelligence, you have proven them wrong every step of the way by changing your mind when you see things come to light. And I promise you, when you see the math on this, this is not an additional $10 million gift to your district. This is an additional $10 million to the Moss family and their development group, because this actually defunds one of the new parks that would be going into District 1. And the money that they are going to use to build up that park is already meant to be spent by them. Miami has a history of recalling mayors who make bad decisions on sporting deals. And we do not want to see that happen here. Mayor Suarez has been a friend of mine for over 10 years. But if the promise of this deal is broken, I will be the first signature on any recall effort for any elected official who tries to break the promises of this deal, because it is my integrity, it is your integrity, because you carry the promises of commissions past. Please vote no on RE 14. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Elvis Cruz, 631 Northeast 57th Street. RE 14, a gift of $20 million to the billionaires behind the soccer stadium and development scam. Our city commission should be committed to preserving and protecting our parks, not giving away cushy contracts for private developments on them. This soccer stadium scam should never have been on the ballot. If the city did not want that land to be a golf course anymore, they should have turned it all into one big, glorious park for the people and not give a hugely lopsided deal to billionaire friends and campaign contributors. This is just another money-motivated manipulation at Miami City Hall. Please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity. Edward Martos, offices at 2800 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. I'm here on behalf of Waste Connections, one of your larger waste haulers, and I want to speak about FR2. I was here a couple meetings ago, and raised some important objections. I want to say thank you to you all for listening, and thank you to your staff for making very critical changes to the ordinance. I think it's dramatically better. We also, at the same time, have to ask for some minor refinements. Those refinements are really nuts and bolts issues, and it's my understanding the administration's position is that they could be resolved through an RFP process, but it's a fundamental point of law that an RFP cannot go contrary to what's in the code. So my request to you today is, if you're not going to defer the item together with the other waste item, I ask that you please make it clear that we need to, between first and second reading, clean up some of these issues that I've already raised to the city attorney, that I've also raised to the administration, so that we can make this thing really watertight. Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Albert Gomez, District 2 resident. Through the chair, Commissioner Pardo, the FR4 item, thank you for removing fiscal waste. But I think the process of submitting a permit is still necessary. Removing the fees shouldn't be there. But the process of putting in the permits is, I think it's important. It shows the city wants to care about its own regulations. Again, through the chair, Commissioner Gabella, thank you for honoring the Honeycomb House. I've seen their work through the Women's Fund and little different groups like that, but I can't see the benefit of honoring groups like that while we're dismantling boards that support those specific issues, such as the Board on Women's Health and Equity and Status of Women. I don't see how they don't collect. They're exactly the same thing. Please allow that vehicle for the community to speak to our legislation on these issues to stand, as well as all the other boards. If you have one or two that you have an issue on, graft or fat, please step in, place people on the boards, and let them do their job. They're useful. And then through the chair, on the Freedom Park issue, I was here in the gallery when it was passed. You got to honor your commitments. If you go back on your commitments, and the mayor wouldn't bring it up if he didn't have the votes. So if he's saying he has the votes, you guys would be going against your commitments. That's in boldface. I think you can do better. I really do. I think there's a big opportunity for the city to show up here for past choices. You guys made a decision, you negotiated, honor it. And I don't want to hear Chris fighting for budgets when you're ready to give $20 million out the door that could effectively go to maintenance within parks, more green spaces. It doesn't line up well, giving this gift out to a private entity. If we're about removing government, let's be smart about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Laura Kelly. I am chair of the Miami-Dade Democratic Party. I am here to thank Commissioner Pardo for his resolution on the rescission of temporary protected status for Venezuelans and I'm here to support that resolution and urge all of our commissioners to support that resolution. I am also an immigration attorney and small business owner. I understand that the rescission of TPS for Venezuelans will not only tear apart families and our communities, but will have a devastating impact on our local economy. So this resolution, while it may not change the outcome, at the very least, it demonstrates to the administration where we stand in this city for our immigrant community, and especially our Venezuelan immigrant community. So thank you, Commissioner Pardo, and I hope all the commissioners here will accept and approve this resolution today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Reyes. Good to see you. Ya tú sabes, lleva buena, siempre está bailando. Welcome back. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk about the Freedom Park. My name is Mariela Lopez de Alber, 661 Northeast 68th Street. And I just want to say that we don't live in a zip code. We live in a planet. We need to preserve it, and we need to share it. We need more green spaces and less concrete. We have enough concrete as it is. We know that we have a flooding issue in Miami. We don't need to put more concrete weight on it. I think that the stadiums, they're selected. They're not for everybody to come because of certain occasions, certain times that people can go, and we need more parks. We need to be a real city that is embracing all the citizens of all walks of life so they can go out and they can actually enjoy something and not be told that it's being invasive with more concrete. We don't need to do that. We need to remember your oath that you took. We the people, for the people, and by the people. And that is what you should be doing every single day, is representing us and not the other way around. So save the trees, save the green spaces, and let's get going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Juan Cuba, and I'm with the Democratic Party. But I'm speaking today as the son of immigrants. My parents came to this country when I was 3 years old. We fled a Maoist guerrilla group, Sendero Luminoso. And since then, hundreds of thousands of families have fled oppression, communism, dictatorship, authoritarianism, in search of a better future here in Miami-Dade and across this country. I'm here to support Commissioner Pardo's pocket item resolution urging the administration to restore TPS, temporary protected status, for Venezuelans and for others that have came here fleeing communism, authoritarianism, in search of that better future. Stripping that away puts them in a very precarious position. It tears families apart. It's scaring our communities, scaring people that, are just here to work hard and provide a better future for their kids. So I urge everyone, Democrat, Republican, Independent, for all of us to be united and stand together and urge this administration to restore TPS. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Nicole Crooks, and I serve as a community engagement manager in Overtown. I also live in Overtown. And I'm here today to speak in strong opposition to SR1, which would include the permanent dissolution of the Overtown Community Oversight Board. This board was established to ensure transparency, accountability, and community input in the face of ongoing development in our neighborhood. And it was not just an advisory body. It was clearly an oversight committee, a safeguard, a necessary checks and balance to ensure the voices of Overtown residents were heard whenever decisions about construction, redevelopment, and public investment were being made. And this board was also a key component of the agreement for the CRA. Ending the oversight board could further erode trust between the community and elected officials, and we know that the public meetings like this one are often scheduled at times when working people are not able to be here, in terms of our elders and so on and so forth. We also know that the way that the agenda items are recorded often make it very difficult for everyday people to even understand what's being discussed. And so the oversight board gives an additional safeguard to make sure that the people are included in the process. Now, since the board has been unable to meet, we've witnessed what happens when community voices are silenced. Town Park residents continue to deal with development challenges, and concrete is replacing the green spaces. So I know that my time is up. I could keep going, but I don't want to. I want to make sure that there should not be any development that takes place without community oversight. And our community deserves a seat at the table, not just as an afterthought, but as a priority. Otherwise, it's not urban renewal, it's urban replacement. And that's what we see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Grant Stern, 425 Northeast 22nd Street. I wanted to start by thanking Commissioner Pardo for bringing up this item about TPS. I was just on Newsmax television this morning explaining how Donald Trump's revocation of TPS is going to impact 500,000 Venezuelans who entered America illegally, 180,000 in Florida. And this is very important because they cannot speak for themselves. They are now intimidated. Their First Amendment rights have essentially been revoked. So it is up to us to speak for them. I'd like to thank Commissioner Gualberto for bringing up item RE3, which will stop the city from making payments for commissioners who commit wrongdoing when they're being sued by their staffers, their constituents, their former police commissioners, etc. Because we need a vote of the commission before the commission outlays these funds. The commission has the ability to make that decision responsibly, and I agree with Commissioner Gualberto on that. But I disagree with the Mel Reese item. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a slick lobbyist threatening you right here. I am someone here that opposed that from the beginning, but I was denied the right to speak because the person sitting to my right violated the Sunshine Law to commit an egregious act of public corruption to get that onto the ballot. And lastly, I'd like to read from a lawsuit that was filed recently. This is in relation to DI3. Suarez and Canto learned that in late January 2024, the Bayfront Trust wired approximately $45,000 to Joe Carollo's Little Havana Fridays, despite Bayfront Trust having no association with Carollo's event, nor deriving any benefit from Carollo's event. In addition to that $45,000, the trust paid an additional $15,000 for artists to perform at Carollo's District 3 event, which was apparently sent directly to a miscellaneous District 3 account. The $60,000 was allegedly intended to enable Carollo to pay artists to perform at the Little Havana Fridays event, payment which was reportedly resulted in booking commissions paid to entities associated with or controlled by Joe and or Marjorie Carollo.
Thank you.
Where's the proof?
Thank you, Commissioner.
These are your friends that are
Commissioner.
putting you up to this. Where's the proof? Show
Thank you.
1 penny of proof.
Thank you.
May I have time to respond?
Show 1 penny
Commissioner,
of proof.
Commissioner, please. Thank you.
May I respond?
No, thank you.
you.
Good
Madam
morning.
Chair, I don't care if these same individuals that are sent here meeting after meeting after meeting to attack me, want to attack me. But when they're going to the low level of attacking my wife, something that even in politics in Miami has not been seen before, it shows how desperate they are. I dare this character here, or any one of these people, to show 1 penny that I or my wife have gotten for anything. My poor wife, the only thing she's done is put hundreds of hours of volunteer time for this city. Something a character like this has never done. She builds. She doesn't destroy like guys like him. And I'm not going to stand here and keep my mouth shut if they're going to come here and lie through their teeth, because this last BS lawsuit is something that will be dismissed immediately once we get to court. We have ample proof of the lies that they put down, including many of them in Mr. Jose Alberto Suarez's own words, signature, and statements. Now, they know well that the trust, not Joe Carollo, 9 members of the trust approved funding for community activities. A lot of it went to Liberty City, Overtown, for kids to be taught art, how to paint, for soccer teams in Little Haiti, for young girls in Little Haiti. And yes, 60,000 was approved for entertainment in Little Havana. And every penny of it went for that, and they know that, because if anybody that's an elected official in this town has shown for years every penny that went in and went out of their bank account, tax statements, including my wife's, including her small business, and they couldn't find a single penny that went in or went out that wasn't justified. So this is what they resort to. Getting a handful of characters like this after they file a frivolous lawsuit that it took them 3 weeks to ask the federal courts to issue a subpoena so they could serve. And then when they served me yesterday in a press conference just before we got started at Bayfront Park for the ribbon cutting of our fountain, it was coordinated with Little Billy. Of course, Little Billy doesn't get paid by anybody. He's a rich man, of course. So, Madam Chair, they could come here and lie, but don't hide behind a lawsuit. And let me say this to everyone that's listening. The reason that you don't get that ambulance chaser attorney that filed this lawsuit for these people, the same one that's filed the lawsuit for the bar owners on 8th Street and has filed other suits against other employees in the city and more, the reason they will not go publicly to say anything like that is because they know then that my wife will have the opportunity to sue the crap out of them. But unfortunately, our laws are that you could put any lie, no matter how big it is, in a lawsuit or in motions, and you can't sue on that. And this is what they're doing. So then a character like this that's working hand in hand with them can come up here and repeat it, and they could try to defame me, defame my wife, because they haven't been able to beat me the Democratic way. They lost 2 elections. They lost 1 recall. And a recall, by the way, that you'll be hearing about it in the near future, because they spent maybe as much as $250,000 of laundered illegal money in that recall. So, Madam Chairman, I hope that you're going to uphold our laws in this city and in every other city commission or county commission in the state, where people stick to the item at hand. He went way over what the item at hand was, and keep family members out of it. Because if it's a free-for-all with family members, believe me, I could go much deeper with others.
Thank you. Thank you.
Point of order.
Pardon me, I would like a chance to
you
respond,
you don't need to respond. You
Madam
had your
Chair.
2 minutes. Commissioner Gabella.
Point of order.
Point of order.
I think it's fine that Carollo spoke, but from now on, if he has 5 minutes on this, while we're doing this, everybody gets 5 minutes, or, fine, no
I will
problem.
not deny you the opportunity to speak. I will
Okay,
not
just
deny
wanna
any
make that
of my
clear.
colleagues the
Thank you.
opportunity to speak.
Thank you,
May I raise a point of order?
No.
Now that he has spoken on the item.
I said no. Your 2 minutes are up. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm here. My name is Jahed Rashid, 3629 Grand Avenue, and just have some comments on RE 10. I received a call last night, and it was some great concern, but after I came here, I found that the measure that's been proposed is innocuous, and I could easily support it. But I want to take this opportunity to say that there's an organization that represents Coconut Grove, the Coconut Grove Village West Homeowners and Tenants Association, and embodies representative government. and it's your partner in representative government. We have a measure in now that prohibits city officials from attending our meetings. But to avoid these kind of things, that to express people, this organization has been here since 1954. It's the most venerable organization. And I would urge the commission to find a way to move around that, because everybody that's a member of that organization lives and votes in the Grove, and they have a voice and a vote. So in these days where we're concerned about democracy and our voices being heard, let's reconsider that communication, because we're your partner, and we want to do that. I was summoned here. I had plenty of other things to do, but they were saying they're going to take something over, and it's innocuous. And I said, well, while I'm here, why don't I take this time and make that request of you respectfully? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pardo.
I just wanted to make a point of clarification. The reason that our staff doesn't attend the HODA meetings or two other groups is because they have sued the city of Miami, and under advice of legal counsel, we cannot have representatives attending in those meetings. We have expressed to those organizations this from the very beginning. We kind of let them know, listen, we are available. Javier Gonzalez is always there. Our office is available. We just did several forums with the Coconut Grove community. So we try to be extremely accessible. I would recommend that you contact our office and certainly work through Javier, because we definitely don't want to lose the communication.
Yeah, we understand, and again, we're your partner.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me? My name is Maria Corina Vegas, 6795 Southwest 102nd Terrace, and Pinecrest 331.
We can't hear you.
My name is Maria Corina Vegas, 6795 Southwest 102nd Terrace, Pinecrest, Florida. I'm here to thank Commissioner Pardo and to support his resolution to support Venezuelan TPS and other TPS holders. As a Venezuelan American myself who fled the Chavez regime, and I understand what it means to have people go back there, and the fear our community right now has. I have friends, I have relatives, and I have colleagues that are, fear-stricken. And I really appreciate your effort to put this resolution forward, and I ask the whole commission to support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rick Madan, 2900 Northeast 7th Avenue, Miami, Florida. I'm here to speak on a couple of the agenda items. Support of RE3, this resolution, which was introduced by Commissioner Gabella, would stop the city from automatically paying legal fees for commissioners sued in civil lawsuits. Now, we understand you have political enemies, so if it's in the scope of your work, the city should defend you. But if it's outside of the scope, taxpayers should not be funding these lawsuits. Opposing FR6, this ordinance which eliminates the Bayfront Park Management Trust, transferring full control to the City Parks Department, reducing public input on parks operations. I support Commissioner Gabella joining the trust to ensure better oversight and community representation. We need a change at Bayfront Park Trust. It should not be eliminated. And then RE14, oppose this ordinance which redirects the $20 million back to Freedom Park, which is amazing. This is a bait and switch, because the development agreement reached stipulated that the developers would donate $20 million to be used for improvement to public parks or acquisition of public parks within the city of Miami, not for Miami Freedom Park, but other parks citywide. Strongly oppose any redirection of these funds, and thank you, Ken Russell, for supporting this. Lastly, DI3. This is an item of vote of no confidence in Commissioner Carollo. You should relinquish your post as chair of the Bayfront Park Trust because of all this controversy. Commissioner Gabella should be appointed chair of the trust. He listens to the people. He will do a good job. Thank you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amaya Aristoy. I live on 128 Morningside, Coral Gables. I am here today in support of Commissioner Pardo's resolution to restore the TPS. I am a Venezuelan American that lives here for 25 years. And I have family and friends directly and negatively being affected by this injustice that is happening as we speak. For example, I have my nephew who came to this country legally under a visa for a student. He went to University of Florida, had a master's degree there. He paid his international tuition. He came back to Miami. He found a job. He was working under TPS. He was paying his taxes, and now he's forced to go back to a country that is no future, that has no future, and also is a country that is under a dictatorship. So it's important to understand that. And the majority of the people that have been affected are hardworking Venezuelan community that pay their taxes and that are contributing to this country as well. And finally, I want to say that as a Venezuelan American and as a Venezuelan immigrant, we're not criminals. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Frances Albin, and I live in Edgewater, which has become ground zero for overdevelopment. And I'm actually born and raised in Miami, so I've seen this this transformation, and it's overdevelopment. We have the items I wanted to support were FR4, the noise ordinance. I'm right outside of Mello Group, which has two 60-story towers that they're developing on 24th Street. And they just get whatever permit they need to construct and build at all hours of the night is being approved. And this is causing incredible disruption and creating, besides the noise, the level of dust and dirt that's going into the bay. The bay is in like terrible shape, but that's another story. But the noise, definitely in support of that. Also want to oppose FR6, which we don't need LED billboards anywhere near parks. And FR3, Also, finally, my last one is RE3, which is, I agree with the sentiments of the folks speaking previously. Taxpayer dollars should not be used to defend officials accused of abuse of power. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, to the Commission. I'm Rick Beasley. I represent Career Source South Florida, the South Florida Workforce Investment Board. We come here to ask for your support for RE11. Again, this initiative allows for the creation of the Women in Tech program. This program will provide, again, the talent pipeline that's needed for the IT industry that you all are providing or expanding here in the city of Miami. But it also provides an opportunity to provide economic mobility for the citizens here in the city of Miami. The South Florida Workforce will provide the matching funds for this initiative. And this initiative will hit 5 main goals here. 1, expanding women's representation in the information technology industry. It will drive workforce development and economic growth here in the city of Miami. It will provide an investment in high wage and sustainable careers here in the city of Miami, and strengthen public-private partnerships for job creation. And lastly, ensure long-term impact and economic growth for the city of Miami. And so we ask for your support for Resolution 11. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Todd Amelung. I live at 677 Northeast 24th Street in Edgewater. I'm here to support the resolution that keeps us from automatically paying legal fees for commissioners. I think that just that alone could break the city at the rate we're going. But specifically, I'm here for FR6. The park management is the input of the community is so important for the parks. The difference in quality of living that we've seen in Edgewater due to development is staggering. Really, for me to ride my bicycle from my home to Midtown, which is less than a mile away, is almost death-defying. There's no bike paths. There's now adverts and LED advertisements, sometimes 2 per block. So if you even have to ride your bike on the city sidewalk, even that, you're bumping people into the street. It's really, it's too much. And the amount of pollution and dust and Port City, there's not enough room in Margaret Pace Park for the buildings that are continuing to go up around it. It needs the full input of the city in order for it to be something that we can all live in and be proud of, because it really feels like developers are in charge there of almost everything. So I just wanted to go on the record for that, and hope that you'll help us with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Nicole Desiderio, 900 Biscayne Bay. I'm speaking on DI3 and FR6. Joe Carollo has had no less than 6 park directors in the last 6 years at the Bayfront Park Management Trust, and it's because he treats people horribly. No one wants to work for him, and no one can last in that position for more than a year. He tries to deny that illegal substances were found at the park trust offices when the police department released the body camera footage. He will just say anything to try and get out of trouble. I'd like to set the record straight about the lies Joe told about me when he took my public comment time last commission meeting. He claimed that I'm a new transplant to Miami and that I just moved here in the last few years. You said welcome to me? Well, I don't need you to welcome me because I've been living in the city of Miami for almost 20 years. I've stated this on the record here at least 10 times, including the fact that I've lived in South Florida all of my life, including across the street from Foray Park for the last 15 years. So I don't know why on earth or who on earth you get your information from, but at least you're consistent with telling blatant lies. Just like your blatant lie claiming that there's no master plan for Foray Park. You knew about this master plan all along, you just refused to use it. So I say to the rest of you commissioners, please do not believe the lies that Joe Carollo tells. Last month when you took my public comment time, you went on a rant, even going so far as to insinuate that I'm involved in some orchestrated plan against you. I'll say it again, and I've said it before. I did not know any of you commissioners before I started coming down here, and I'm not being sent here by anyone. And now RE14 about Freedom Park. It's disappointing that we have so many issues with our park. And FR6, it seems like you're taking the stance of, if I can't have it, no one can, so you just want to abolish the trust altogether. I think Commissioner Gabella should be the chair of the trust. And RE3, I'm with you on that, Commissioner Gabella. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Sure. It's just a cake for the... He gave me a donut last time. Why not? I'm not going to eat it here, though. We're not. He gave me a donut last time. Okay. Well, we're not going to serve it, but... Okay, you can take it. I don't want to be security in your car. Thanks. Thank you. Good morning, Billy Corbin, also known as Vile Little Man, Little Billy, Timeshare Baby, and Mr. Cohen, here to speak on DI3, 5, FR6, RE3, and RE14. First, good to see Commissioner Reyes here and healthy, sir. And I want to thank Commissioner Gabella for bringing some very important items that put taxpayers first on this agenda. First and foremost related to Bayfront Park Management Trust and, of course, outside counsel for elected officials. On the Bayfront Trust, I am all for your suggestion that you take over as the chairman. I think you are the right new sheriff to come in and fix the mess that is there. And it affects the outside counsel issue as well. If you see one of those meetings right now, it's like a communist Politburo, where everyone tells Joe Carollo how smart and handsome and funny he is, and all vote in unison for him, including recently on more outside counsel to defend corruption in this city. And who did they pick? Loser law firms like Schutz and Bowen. Loser law firms, okay, who are now defending yet another First Amendment retaliation lawsuit against Joe Carollo. What are their qualifications? They last the lost First Amendment retaliation lawsuit against Joe Carollo to the tune of $63.5 million. It's got to stop this blank check that the city attorney's office has to buy themselves other positions. Look at Tricky Vicky Mendez, the former consigliere of the Miami Mafia here. She got herself, by signing away $20 million, she got herself a position at that law firm. And now you're paying a corruption tax in her pension, and also You're paying her salary there at Schutz and Bowen. It's got to stop. And finally, I just want to mention on Mel Reese. They're lying to you. I just want you to know that. They're lying to you. Just like they lied to Ken Russell, they lied to this whole community after negotiating in good faith up there. They are lying to you. Don't let them do it like they did with the pensions, too. They're trying to pull a fast one. The mayor is an unregistered lobbyist for them. And they represent his law firm, MLS. Don't let them do it. And finally, I have a cake to celebrate the 24th anniversary of Joe Carollo's domestic violence arrest with a mugshot from him.
Thank you.
The only person who's attacked your wife here is you, sir.
Madam Chair, the only title he forgot to mention, which is his main one, the boy's corruption, because that's who pays him to come here. Corruption. The one that pays this guy here with the TikTok shirt to be filming so that he could put it in his little podcast. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to speak on many of your proclamations, Commissioner Pardo, the proclamations that you're trying to make regarding deportations of specific immigrants. I am a member of the Republican Party in your district, District 17, as committee woman. I've also served on the Code Enforcement Board. We have a massive issue with immigration here that directly affects our elections. We have illegals voting in our elections. They are allowed to check a box whenever they are applying for their state IDs. That has gone all the way to the governor's office. So in President Trump's inauguration speech, he clearly said he plans on cleaning up from Chicago to Miami. Wondering why he said that? Well, maybe because our county mayor has almost raided the fund for the sheriff department in buying things from Chicago. That's very strange, right? According to NBC's own reports, in November 2024, there was a man from Venezuela at Dolphin Mall that was harassing citizens, beating them. He had sold over $1,100 in merchandise. Well, he was arrested in Chicago, had an ankle monitor that was cut, but there was nobody to go get him. But he was beating up on our citizens. On January 28th, 26 Chinese immigrants were being smuggled in our own backyard here in Coral Gables. Those immigrants, we have no idea what they were doing in terms of their abilities, and it looked like they were actually trying to escape Latinos. So we don't know what member of the gang there are. So President Trump is actively cleaning up our country, as almost 80% of Americans wanted. And if you would like me to hand deliver a letter to you with my rebuttal on top, I will be glad to do that because I will be at Mar-a-Lago tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Enjoy, Christy.
Good morning. Brenda Betancourt, 1436 6th Street. SR3 and FR5, I just want to thank Commissioner Carollo for the renaming. And let's hope that those three parks, they are going to be more active. And if it's possible, if the Director of Parks can try to see if we can have more of the programs that we have around, that they still have to be added to these two new parks. So Rendario is going to be amazing, and as well as the children parks. In support of PC3, for the survey showing the right-of-way dedications for owners that doesn't understand what that dedications means when they own a property. Just question about FR6 and DI5. I think we all, as a residents of the city of Miami, we just want to understand the reason of requesting the abolish of this management. And I'm not in favor of abolish anything, but we all have to understand in order for you to have any event in the park, it's like a miracle. In order for you to actually qualify to do an event in the Bayfront Park. So I just want to understand exactly what is it they are trying to accomplish and to abolish it. If it's going to be more actually accessible to the people, or is just for a different reason? I just have questions about that, and I just want to make sure to mention to you guys about the 40/50 certification for seniors in our homes. We have seniors in an area of Shenandoah who received a letter from the unsafe department saying that she needs to certify her house. And we have to understand, when you send a letter to an 84 years old that she need to recertify her house, and she's going to panic, you guys as a city has to let them know what that means, please.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Denise Galvez, 2130 Southwest 20th Street. I'm here to speak on FR6. I think it's pretty clear. I think Pardo and Gabella understand the game. I think Commissioner Reyes also understands the game. Obviously, this is an attempt for Commissioner Carroyo to basically, if I can't have it, no one can. Please don't abolish the park. Please don't put it back in the Parks Department. I deal with the parks a lot. I'm actually trying to restore a historic building in one of the parks. I have the money, the roof from Dade Heritage Trust, and we haven't been able to get that through. The parks is a mess. A lot of our parks are mismanaged. Don't abolish Bayfront Management Trust. As for the third-party attorney fees, I absolutely support that. As a matter of fact, I would add a provision, and I ask all of you to add a provision where we do not allow our city attorney's office to hire third-party attorneys and firms who are actively engaged in our elections, i.e. Sarnoff and Ben Cooney. All of them have PACs. They donate to Carroyo. They support all his elections. They should not be allowed to be part of that third-party attorney hiring process, regardless of what the circumstances are. They should be prohibited from even participating in that process. So thank you so much, Gabella, for bringing this up. And please appoint Commissioner Gabella as the chairman, because that trust had for 30 years a wonderful leadership team that I worked with. And there was no problem with me doing events there or anybody else. I don't know what Ms. Betancourt is talking about. Just please remove it from Carroyo's hands. That's the only problem with that park. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman. James Torres, President of the Downtown Neighbors Alliance. We're here to oppose RE 14. The resolution is the wrong way of doing business in the city of Miami because it's very specific that a promise was made here back in 2022. That $20 million in park funding that was only recently received and has been a clear earmark since 2022 for citywide improvements and the acquisition of land for new parks. It doesn't matter that technically, the key word here is technically, we did not have to acquire new parks and find additional loopholes as required or has been currently been speaking to. New land for parks beyond Miami Freedom Park was a promise that was made improving for other parks beyond the Miami Freedom Park. As promised, no new taxpayers' money should have been used for this. Now we're in this conundrum. We are not here to argue technicalities. We're here opposing the resolution because it lacks integrity. If we allow this to happen, what will happen next? The job creations that were promised will no longer exist. The guarantee of 58-acre park in general will no longer exist. And the terms of the entire deal, because a former corrupt city attorney left us nasty, surprising, and finding additional loopholes that should not have been created. We suggest the following compromise. In 2022, the commission decided that $12.5 million was going to go to District 1. And within that, $2.5 million of the pot was going to be split equally among the other districts. There should be other solutions. Part of the solution may be a conservatorship, that the mayor should start having a conversation and addressing that, and or looking for a trust or philanthropy partners that perhaps will address this issue as like you're doing with the underlying park. That's our stance on RE 14. FR 3 and 4, the noise ordinance, we're asking that you include language that is not there to support the fact that the administration does not have the right.
Thank you.
FR 6, the Bayfront Park issue. RE 9.
Thank you. Thank
being
you.
very clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Miguel Soliman, 1436 Southwest 6th Street. I'm here in support of RE 8 and RE 11. Commissioner Gabella, I commend you. Always looking out for our most vulnerable in our community. RE 8 is for the holiday meal distribution. That's admirable you're doing. And then RE 11 is for the Women in Tech program, which is an incredible thing that we're doing. We have to support our women. I'm here also against RE 14. Miami Freedom Park got $1 billion, possibly the best deal that's ever been given in this county. And now they're getting greedy on top of what they got. The voters spoke in November. It was a clear mandate. We're tired of these kind of things. You know, don't let them continue to be so greedy. Enough is enough. Leave that 20 million there. Leave something for us. Then I'd also like to commend the police department and our chief. Last time I was here, I spoke of the situation we have with the mopeds. They've implemented a great program. There's still a lot of work to do. It's a very difficult issue to get these mopeds and these individuals, but they are picking them up. They're confiscating mopeds, and they've even assigned officers specifically to that task. And I would like to commend our chief and our police department, as always. Thank you very much for your service. And lastly, real quick, I'd like to commend an individual that is always behind the scenes, and we never hear anything from him. Our city clerk, Todd Hammond. He's always quiet in that little help, but I'd say give him a round of applause. Forgive me, but that man and that department, his staff, they never make a mistake. They keep our city records. They're always correcting us if we make a mistake. And it is very admirable, and we never point that out. We talk about our police, we talk about our fire department, but he does an incredible job with our city. Thank you very much, Mr. City Clerk and all your staff.
Thank
you, Commissioners.
Thank you. At this time, seeing no one else for public comment, the public comment period is now closed. I do see we have a personal appearance. Citizens Independent Transportation Trust.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager. Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. It's great to be back at the city. I worked for the Miami DDA many years ago. And obviously, it's great to see all my old friends and colleagues here at the city. Mariana Price, who is our Municipal Program Manager, is here as well. She also worked for the Miami DDA. So, you know, the city of Miami is really near and dear to our heart. And in fact, Mariana is also a city resident. So she's a twofer. So thank you for granting me some time to update you on our efforts to oversee the half-penny funds and the implementation of, not advancing. Okay, while he does that, we did pass out just an overview of our organization and the use of the PTP funds both by the county and our cities. Oh, there we go. We're getting there. Okay, I just need to go backwards. All right, starting from scratch, I apologize. So 23 years ago now, actually, the voters in Miami-Dade County were presented with this ballot language, and it asked the taxpayers if they would increase their sales tax from 6.5% to 7%, a half-penny increase, and that those funds would be used to enhance mobility and improve transportation throughout Miami-Dade County under something called the People's Transportation Plan, or PTP. If you look at the last sentence of the referendum language, it also created the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, my organization, to oversee the use of those funds by both the county, that gets about 80% of the money, and the cities that are getting about 22% of the funds these days. And those funds are distributed to the cities on a pro rata basis. So by population, City of Miami being the largest city by population in the county gets the lion's share of those municipal funds. So our charge at the CITT is to monitor, audit, review, and oversee and investigate the use of the funds and the implementation of the PTP. I am not technically CITT, I'm support staff to them. These folks up on the screen are the citizen volunteers that compose our trust. At least 5 of them, I believe, represent at least part of the city of Miami. And you'll recognize some of these folks, Meg Daly, Robert Uwano, who I understand worked here many years ago. They're true citizen volunteers from all walks of life. We do have vacancies. If you're interested in serving on the trust as a volunteer, please visit our website and apply. Even if there isn't a vacancy, we'll keep that on file for future vacancies. This is my office. You know, we assist the trust in its ongoing efforts. One of the key responsibilities of ours is to audit all the cities and the county on a regular basis to ensure that those funds are being spent appropriately. I do want to acknowledge your city staff has done a phenomenal job of working with us to address some audit findings from the past. Audit findings that, by the way, were not due to this administration or this commission. They are long-standing issues that we finally resolved. And so kudos to your staff for working so well with us to do that. So half penny doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it collects a lot, particularly over time. So we're now at about $400 million that is being collected annually. And since its inception, we've collected nearly $5 billion. And what you see here is the breakdown of how those monies were expended. The bulk of it has gone to Miami-Dade Transit. Some has gone to Miami-Dade Public Works for roadway projects, although that's been less than 10% of the funds. About 21% overall has gone to the cities. I'm proud to say that less than 1% goes to our office for administration. We're allowed to spend up to 5%, but we ensure that we spend less than 1% because we believe that the bulk of the funds should be spent on the street on projects and services that actually move people. Here's the same information over time. Generally speaking, the sales tax has grown over time, collections have grown, and expenditures have grown with the exception of the recession and the pandemic. This is our annual budget, tells more or less the same story. If you're really interested in the numbers, we have every penny going in, every penny going out over the next 40 years in this 40-year pro forma. It's an $8 billion program over those 40 years, and this is available on our website. I won't go into it in detail here. So enough about us, enough about the money. Let's talk about what people really care about. It's the projects, programs, and services that the half penny funds. A lot of promises were made 23 years ago to the people. Everyone remembers expansion of Metro Rail, and that was certainly one of the core promises, but there was so much more. There was the 20% to the cities, of which the cities have to use at least 20% for transit, and the other 80% they can use on other transportation. There was fare-free Metro Mover right here in the city of Miami. There was fare-free transit for all seniors regardless of income, what's now called the Golden Passport. You had bus service improvements. You had major highway and road improvements, over 40 roadway and highway improvements. And then, yes, of course, expansion of Metro Rail or rapid transit. I'm going to bring Mariana up here to quickly talk to these two slides about the municipal transit program that she manages.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Manager. My name is Mariana Price. I'm the Municipal Program Manager. I oversee the use of the surtax funds with the 33 municipalities that participate in our program. The City of Miami is the largest city. Funds are distributed on a pro rata basis with just under 500,000 in population. The city is slated to get about $28 million this year. Last year, the ridership was about 4.2 million, and it increased, the year before last was 4.2 million, increased about 5% to 4.4 million, and the city has the most robust trolley system in Miami-Dade County with 13 routes. I've ridden all 13 of them. Natasha, Wade, Juvenal, Charles, they all do a great job, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mariana. She works on a regular basis with your amazing team here at the city. As I said, a number of roadway projects, 3/4 of those are done. Now, our position at the CITT is that as the roadway projects are completed, we're not accepting new roadway projects from the county. We want the bulk of the funds spent on transit because that is where we're furthest behind. And frankly, we don't have the ability to expand roadways in Miami-Dade County anymore. The only alternative is transit. However, one roadway-related project that we are funding and are fully supportive of is advanced traffic management system technology. It's a fancy way of saying smart signals, right? So we have these antiquated traffic signals. They're just on timers. They're not adapting to real-time traffic situations. This system will allow that to happen. There was a phase one that was a pilot project that was very successful. and the county is now moving into phases 2 and 3. So the whole idea of here is to get you through those intersections faster if you are in a car. But our focus really is on transit and has been for a long time. We've completely replaced all the vehicles, Metro Rail, Metro Mover, the Metro bus system. Proud to say that the Metro bus system is increasingly going to be electric and eco-friendly CNG buses. We did expand Metro Rail to the airport. We do fund all the municipal trolleys. We fund bicycle and pedestrian connections to those transit systems, what we call the first last mile. And we have also invested in Tri-Rail. So about a year ago, Tri-Rail expanded its current system to downtown Miami. We helped to pay, as the city also helped to pay for that platform at the Miami Central Station. Okay, we'll pass that. So the one rapid transit corridor that was achieved, again, was the expansion of Metro Rail to the airport. But many more were promised. I think we all remember there were another 5 or 6 corridors that were promised 20 years ago. Those have not come to fruition. The good news is the county is actively working, and the TPO, to bring those projects to fruition, finally, through what they now call the SMART Plan, Strategic Miami Area Rapid Transit Plan. So those are 6 corridors that are in some stage of planning, design, development, or construction. So we have the South Corridor, Beach Corridor, East-West Corridor, Kendall Corridor, Northeast Corridor, and the North Corridor. The South Corridor is under construction as we speak. If you go from about Dadeland south to Florida City, you'll see it being built right alongside South Dixie Highway. It's really exciting. It's going to be gold standard bus rapid transit that's going to behave very much like a train. And that should be opening in about July of this year. The Beach Corridor, formerly known as Baylink, obviously very important to the city of Miami. This is still in planning and development. City of Miami Beach took some issues with the proposal of Metro Mover, but this is still a county priority and something that we certainly support at the CITT. In addition to getting to the beach, you'll notice there's also a line that goes up to the design district, and both of those are currently proposed to be Metro Mover. The East-West Corridor, is connecting people who live out west to the jobs here in the city of Miami and points east. This was originally going to be BRT on the Dolphin Expressway. The county has taken a step back and is now exploring other alternatives, either the CSX lines that are currently in place near the airport, or potentially doing something on Flagler Street instead of State Road 836. So they're exploring all that. Please stay tuned. The Kendall Corridor doesn't really affect your city. This has kind of been shelved for the moment while they focus on other corridors. The next most exciting one that I believe will come to fruition is the Northeast Corridor. And this is certainly one that I know you're anticipating and supporting here at the City of Miami. This is essentially going to run commuter rail, so think Tri-Rail-like trains, along the existing Brightline FEC tracks. Brightline is fantastic. It's a little expensive. It doesn't really work for your daily commuter, so it needs to be complemented by a true commuter rail system that has affordable fares, multiple stations throughout the county. And this deal, I would say, is nearing fruition. We did secure $400+ million from the Biden administration for the federal share. We'll see if the Trump administration honors that and if Congress approves it. But the local and state matches are there as well. The North Corridor would run up 27th Avenue toward the Broward County line. This one is slated to be Metro Rail. As such, it's going to be the most difficult to achieve because Metro Rail is extremely expensive. We don't currently have the funds in place for that corridor. It's going to require federal funds, and we're not sure if it would compete competitively for those funds under the new administration. Finally, we've supported several park and ride facilities throughout the county. We need more funding. We need to look under every rock. And additional areas of focus for ours. First, last mile connectivity is important. It doesn't matter if you build these corridors if you can't get to the station or from the station to your destination. So, we really encourage the municipalities to invest in first, last mile bicycle pedestrian connectivity, on-demand transportation, which I know you're exploring, and of course your own circulators. Enhancing county municipal connectivity. We don't have one transit system in Miami-Dade County. We have 35. We have transit, we have Brightline, we have Tri-Rail, and then we have 33 cities doing their own thing. And that doesn't work for the rider or the consumer. We really need to bridge those things so that it's one seamless system from the perspective of the rider. We could build everything we want. If it's not providing a good customer experience, people aren't going to use it. So making sure that the system is well maintained that it's clean, that it performs well. And finally, community engagement. I am committed to telling the story of the half penny and the PTP, and I'm doing this throughout the county because the people deserve to know where their half penny is going, where it's succeeding, but also where it's failing. You know, information is power. Just going to leave you with 2 points. We did launch a CITT ambassador program 2 years ago. Basically, we're using the people who ride the system to be our eyes and ears on the system. They submit feedback on a regular basis on an app. They get points for that, which they can exchange for rewards like free Uber rides, free transit passes. This is fantastic, and we encourage any transit rider in the city of Miami, of either the Miami-Dade County Transit or even your own system, to apply to become a CITT ambassador, to be our eyes and ears on the system so that we can keep improving it. And finally, I did launch a podcast a couple of years ago to talk about mobility, to talk about transportation, to inform the public. And I've had several officials over that time, and I would invite all of you and the mayor and the manager to be guests on my podcast to talk about mobility. We film it out of Miami's community newspaper studio, not too far from here in South Miami. So please be my guest. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I do have one question. I am trying to expand the city's trolley service to the east of my district, up Biscayne Boulevard. Biscayne Boulevard is a traffic nightmare, and it would be helpful if we could move our residents. And it seems to be the only area of the city of Miami that does not have a trolley route. And I don't think it's fair that the east side of the city of Miami up to the northern boundary of the city of Miami doesn't have the trolley system. I've spoken to staff about it. It's been a priority of mine because the businesses there, there's no parking on the Upper East Side, and the businesses there are suffering because we can't get persons into that area, and we have several businesses that would benefit from more persons visiting that community. That happens to be my neighborhood, so I understand better than most because that is literally my neighborhood.
Okay.
And I would like to see a trolley route. The trolley stops on 62nd and Biscayne and turns back around. The trolley goes everywhere in Miami except there. So I know staff has brought this to your attention, and I would really like to see a trolley in that area because we have to alleviate the traffic on Biscayne Boulevard. And I like what you said about the signaling, because the signals are out of sync on Biscayne Boulevard. You get to one green light only to go to a red light, and the traffic just does not flow, and it's very frustrating. It takes me an hour to get from downtown to my house on Biscayne and 62nd. I'm east of that, an hour, where it's really only a 10-minute ride when it's not, rush hour traffic. So and we had a meeting with FDOT, Miami Parking Authority, the City of Miami, and the Miami-Dade County. I should have included you guys, and we talked about the syncing of the traffic lights, because we have every little bit helps, but really I'm concerned about the trolley, and I would like to have, and I've given it to staff. They know it's a priority of mine, and I'd like to see the trolley go up Biscayne Boulevard.
Yeah, the decisions on where trolleys should go, what routes you have, is really a city decision. You do have to coordinate that with Miami-Dade Transit to make sure it complements the overall transit system and doesn't compete with it. That's a conversation that your city staff has with their department, not with us. We don't have any say in where your trolley routes go or where they should go. We just, oversee the funding. I will say that the city, again, is only required to spend 20% of what you get on transit, on the trolleys. You spend well above that. And so the city is already spending, I think the bulk of your funds at this point on transit, even though you don't have to. But there may be additional funds that could go towards expansion of trolleys. That's a conversation to have with them.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation.
Can I just?
Yes.
Can I just? In my area, I asked for this. Since I got in office January, February, that you're running the trolleys running westbound from approximately 12th Avenue Northwest and Northwest 7th Street, running westward to 57th Avenue. and then when it gets to 57th Avenue, it cuts and goes, turns left and goes south. And when I was campaigning, about 2 years ago, many of the residents, wanted that trolley, since they're getting on it to go westward, why doesn't it go, return the same way? And yes, I got the answer, but I'd like to see that change because, if senior citizens get on that trolley to go shopping at, let's say, the 57th Avenue Shopping Center, they have no way of, making the return trip.
Okay, again, you're talking about a City of Miami trolley.
Yeah.
That's, again, wholly within the city's control on how you route those. I shouldn't say wholly because you do have to coordinate with Miami-Dade Transit, but.
That's what they said.
Yes. I know there's flexibility there. And by the way, one of the things I should also applaud the city for is there are areas where you actually go outside your city and connect to, for instance, City of Coral Gables. That is allowable. I think up to 30% of a route can be outside of your jurisdictional boundaries, and we encourage that because it increases connectivity. So there may be opportunities there, to look at some of those flexible options. And by the way, one of our great partners, Juvenal, I think might be able to address your question.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Juvenal Santana, Director, Public Works. We are currently going to be looking at our trolley route master plan. So as part of that, taking the recommendations, we've already had conversations with DTPW, and that's the planning section that has to approve any changes to our trolley routes have to be approved by the planning department at DTPW at the county. So we will be looking at all the routes citywide, including the northern extension along Biscayne Boulevard as part of that effort. And so we'll be reaching out to do that. That master plan had been put on hold because we were not receiving the county surtax dollars that just happened in March, and we've already engaged the consultant that's going to be doing that work. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you all very much.
At this time, I would like to ask my colleagues for a motion to pass the City Commission meeting minutes accept the City Commission meeting minutes for December 12, 2024.
Move.
I have a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I apologize. I have to leave now. I have something that I could not change. What time should I be back? 2:30?
No, it's only 11:30. If I would still have quorum, I'd like to take up some of this stuff.
The only thing that I asked is we have another 20 plus minutes before noon. If there's any item that is controversial, if it should be held back for the afternoon session.
So let me hold on. Let me go through. Are there any items in the consent agenda that anyone wants to pull for discussion? Does anybody want to pull any items from the consent agenda? CA4?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Reyes, are there any items from the consent agenda that you would like to?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay.
No, Madam Chair.
Does anyone want to pull PH1 for discussion?
H1?
PH1.
Can I?
For PH1?
No. What I wanted to say was that, we have a contentious issue, and it's DI3, and I think we should take it now as early as possible, because I want Carollo to be here because
He's
it
going
has
to
to do
come
with
back
him.
after
and
lunch.
Let
me just get through the agenda. He's going to come back after lunch. I just want to see what you guys want to pull.
We don't want to do anything behind anybody's back.
No, we're not. We're not going to do that. I just want to, does anyone want to pull PH1 for discussion?
No, but
H1.
PH1.
I do have to leave, Madam Chair. I think we all
Are there
know what
any
controversial items there
right.
are.
Are there any resolution items that you would like to pull for discussion?
If we could leave any resolution item that could be controversial, for that matter, any pocket items that could be controversial. If there's none, then we move with it. But I do have to go now. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
So, may I have a motion for CA 1, 2, 3?
Move.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed. With CA4 for discussion later. May I have a motion for PH1?
Move it.
I have a motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I'd just like to say one thing. I'm going to
Yes.
be voting against it because I asked how much was, what was the dollar amount? We talked about a formula, city manager, and I haven't gotten that formula back. I haven't got the dollar amount, so I can't vote on something that I don't really know what we're selling for. But for
Can we
estimate-
defer the item? Yeah.
Okay.
You want to defer it
Yeah.
for this meeting or until afternoon?
The meeting.
For the okay, so do I have a motion to defer?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Until when?
Until we get the dollar amount.
I guess 227, the next meeting.
To the next meeting? Okay.
Oh, just the afternoon?
Okay.
So we don't need to defer it. We'll
Right.
just hold it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You can table the item.
We'll table the item until the afternoon. All right. There's a mitigation, RE1. But that's District 3, so he left, so we won't take that up until he comes back. Going to pull RE3 for discussion. Any of the RE14 for discussion.
Are 14 and are E13.
Let's see.
Discussion.
He added 13 as well.
13?
That's right.
You want to pull 13 for discussion?
Commissioner Reyes.
Okay, Commissioner
Yes, right.
Reyes, you want to pull
13 and
13
14.
for discussion? Are there any other items?
So we're putting 13 and 14?
Pulling
in?
13, 14, and RE3,
Okay.
and 1 until the afternoon
On the REs.
on the REs.
I believe 4 was deferred, no?
Yes, RE4 was deferred until March 13th.
Okay.
And RE6 we already passed.
Yes.
So nobody has objections.
Okay, so may I have a motion? And let me
Motion.
read them out. Let me read them out. Motion for RE2, RE5, RE7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and be mindful that RE12 is a 4/5. Do I have a
Motion.
I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Items pass. Okay. Are there any of the SR items that anyone wants to pull for discussion?
I did want to pull SR1.
SR1. Yeah, I want to pull that too. SR1. Anything else? Mr. City Attorney, would you please read for the record the titles of the SR items 1, 2, and 3?
Yes, Madam Chair. SR1, it's a long one. An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 2, Section 2-887 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended. City Code titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Standards for Creation and Review of Boards generally, quorum requirements, exceptions, more particularly by removing references to the boards, committees, and citizens advisory groups, collectively city boards, being sunset herein. Further amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 2, Section 2-892 of the City Code titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Standards for Creation and Review of Boards, generally sunset review of boards, more particularly by removing references to the city boards being sunset herein to maintain consistency with the City Code and align the City Code with current standards and practices. Repealing Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 3, Sections 2-921 through 2-929 of the City Code titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commission's Mayor's Council on Global Competitiveness, further repealing Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 6, Sections 2-1011 through 2-1019 of the City Code, titled Administrative Boards, Committees, Commissions, Commissions on the Status of Women and Quality of Life Committee, further repealing Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 7, Sections 2-1051 through 2-1056 of the City Code, titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Overtown Advisory Board, Overtown Community Oversight Board, further repealing Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 12, Sections 2-1150 through 2-1153 of the City Code, titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Community Relations Board, further repealing Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 22, Sections 2-1329 through 2-1331 of the City Code, titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Stars of Calle Advisory Committee, further repealing Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 26, Section 2-1360 through 2-1368 of the City Code, titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Miami Technology Council, further repealing Chapter 22, Article 7, Sections 22-170 through 22-174 of the City Code, titled Garbage and Other Solid Waste, Commercial Solid Waste and Recycling Management Advisory Committee, sunsetting the Affordable Home Ownership Loan Program Task Force established by the City Commission pursuant to Resolution Number R19-0508, adopted on December 12, 2019, declaring that all powers, duties, assets, and funds of the City Board sunset herein shall revert to the City, and the City shall resume the responsibilities of the City Board sunset herein, containing a severability clause providing for an effective date. SR2, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 62, Article 14, Section 62-644 through 62-645 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended, titled Planning and Zoning, Public Benefits Trust Fund, NRD 1, Public Benefits Trust Fund, Intent, and Planning and Zoning, Public Benefits Trust Fund, established to provide for the transfer of NRD 1 Public Benefits Trust Funds collected by the City of Miami City Finance Department to a qualified public depository held by Wynwood Business Improvement District, allowing for the investment of NRD 1 Public Benefits Trust Funds collected pursuant to the City's investment policy in Section 218.415 Florida statutes, providing for 3-year terms for NRD 1 Public Benefits Trust Committee members, clarifying that 35% of the total NRD 1 Public Benefits Trust Funds collected shall be allocated towards affordable housing and limited funding to affordable housing projects where at least 51% of the units provided are restricted to a person or households with income at or below 80% of the median income for Miami-Dade County, Florida, as determined by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. And SR3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended, titled Parks and Recreations General, by creating Section 38-35, titled Naming of Children's Park, to provide for the naming of the parcel of land consisting of approximately 16,222 square feet located at 1320 Southwest 12th Avenue, 1330 Southwest 12th Avenue, and 1211 Southwest 14th Street, Miami, Florida, and other contiguous parcels that may be added in the future as Children's Park, further directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the name of the park, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. That is the end of the SR items.
Thank you. May I have a motion for SR 2 and 3?
Motion.
I have a motion.
Move it.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Are there any FR items that you guys would like to pull for discussion? Oh, wait. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to RE3. RE3 for discussion.
Or are we leaving that for the afternoon?
You want to leave it for the afternoon?
Well, because it involves one of the biggest lawsuits.
I understand. Okay, all right. All right. Items to be pulled for FR. I would think FR 6 pulled for discussion. And you guys have any? FR.
I don't.
But the FR 6, yes?
Yes, I agree.
Pull for discussion. Anything else? no, that seems okay. Mr. City Attorney, would you read the titles for the FR items into the record?
Yes, Madam Chair. Okay, first one we have is FR2. FR2, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 22, Article 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Garbage and Other Solid Waste, Regulation of Persons Engaging in Commercial Waste Collection, providing for an additional requirement that franchisees also be required to remove bulky waste from contract properties, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. FR3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission establishing Chapter 52 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, City Code titled Special Events, to provide a chapter dedicated to special events, updating definitions and regulations to such special events, and consolidating regulations currently in Chapter 54 and 62 of the City Code, further amending Chapter 54, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, City Code titled Streets and Sidewalks in general, to delete regulations related to special events to be codified in Chapter 52 of the City Code, and clarifying definitions, further repealing Chapter 62, Article 13, Division 1 of the City Code, titled Planning and Zoning Approval for Temporary Uses and Occupancies, Permit Required Temporary Events, to delete regulations related to special events, regulations, and temporary event permit to be codified in Chapter 52 of the City Code, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. FR4, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 36, Section 4 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Noise, Operation of Radios, Phonographs, or Other Sound-Making Devices, Bands, Orchestras, and Musicians generally, to provide for City Commission waiver for special occasions and occasions on city-owned, operated, or leased properties and facilities, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. FR5, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission renaming the City of Miami-owned park consisting of approximately 155,700 square feet, currently known as Henderson Park, and located at 971 Northwest 2th Street, Miami, Florida, folio number 014138-003-0690, as Ruben Dario Park, amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Parks and Recreation General, by creating Section 38-38, titled Naming of Ruben Dario Park, further repealing Chapter 38, Article 1, Section 38-29 of the City Code, titled Naming of Ruben Dario Park, to remove duplicative park namings, further directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the naming of the park, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. FR6, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission repealing Chapter 38, Article 3 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Parks and Recreation, Bayfront Park Management Trust, in its entirety, to abolish the Bayfront Park Management Trust, amending Chapter 38 of the City Code, titled Parks and Recreation, to establish a new Article 3 titled Division of Bayfront Park and Maurice Ferre Park, creating a division of the Department of Parks and Recreation, and providing for the City of Miami to maintain, operate, and manage the Bayfront Park and Maurice Ferre Park, further amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 2, titled Administration, Boards, Committees, Commission Standards for Creation and Review of Boards generally, to remove references to the trust, further amending Chapter 18, Article 3, Section 1872, titled Finance, City of Miami Procurement Ordinance, Application and Exclusions, to remove references to the trust, further amending Chapter 54, Article 1, Section 54-9, titled Streets and Sidewalks in general, placing signs, advertisement, or displays on any portion of public right-of-way, street, or sidewalk surface, to remove references to the trust, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date.
Thank you. May I have a motion for FR 2, 3, 4, and 5, and with FR 2 and 3 as amended?
So moved.
Just
go ahead.
one
Second.
question.
Go ahead.
One question. FR3, okay, is this going to be moved that we, the commissioners, Chairwoman, the commission is going to decide or the administration is going to decide? Because I'm not clear on this.
The waivers?
Yeah, on FR3.
So the
pertaining to FR3.
FR3 is the codification of special events into Chapter 52, and all the power to waive would be still with the City Commission. I think you're talking about the noise one, which is FR4.
Well, FR4, we already know, right? That it's us. I mean, the City
Yeah.
Commission, right?
Yeah.
FR3, I just can you?
There's no waiver of noise for the administration in FR3. It reverts back to Chapter 36, which would rest with the City Commission.
Okay.
Right.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Sorry, sorry.
Take your time.
Okay, I'm sorry. City Manager, on the FR1, weren't we going to defer
FR1
that?
It was deferred to February 27th.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, sorry, I got it wrong here. So we're doing 2, 3,
4, and 5.
4, and 5. That's fine with me.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioner Reyes.
Mr. City Clerk, I believe FR2 was, there was a substitution, so that would be a substitution.
I said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. And I need to revisit RE 12. There's a substitution. So if we can, if I can have a motion to revisit RE 12.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a
Move
second. RE 12. May I, all in favor of RE 12 as amended?
Oh, no, so the vote on the reconsideration, we need to reconsider.
I'm sorry, there's a two-step thing here. A motion and a second for reconsideration. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes now. May I have a motion to adopt RE 12?
As amended pursuant to substitution memo dated February 12, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, now we have, do we have any board appointments, Mr. City Clerk?
Yes, ma'am. BC 5, Climate Resilience Committee. City Manager Noriega will be appointing Assistant Fire Chief Grant Muser to the Emergency Management category.
You need a motion?
Yes.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
BC 16, Miami Forever
Aye.
Bond Program Citizens Oversight Board. Commissioner Gabel will be appointing Nelson Canizares.
Have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That concludes the boards and committees. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And we can accept the budget, the status of the FY25 current budget. Does anyone need any discussion on that? Okay. Doesn't require a motion.
Nothing's changed, I was told.
No. But our director is here if you have any questions. No? Okay. We're good. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read for the record the PZ items?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
yeah, can we do also the pocket items?
Are there any okay, we can.
PI 1 through PI 4.
May I have a motion for PI 1 through PI 4?
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
Sorry, PZ or
PI, the pocket items.
Oh, pocket item.
I have a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Pocket items pass. Mr. City Attorney, could you read for the record?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Welcome. PZ, the titles for the PZ items.
Yes, Madam Chair. PZ1 is a resolution. PZ2, ordinance. An ordinance of the Miami City Commission with attachments amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended more particularly by amending Article 1, titled Definitions, to add a definition of portico, amending Article 3, titled General to Zones, to clarify the building and structure heights in the T3 suburban transit zones and floor area for intermediate levels, amending Article 4, titled Standards and Tables, to update setback requirements for ingress control devices, amending Article 5, titled Specific to Zones, to update and simplify regulations related to single-family and two-family homes in the T3 suburban transit zones, and amending Article 7, titled Procedures and Nonconformities, to provide a waiver for raised decks, making findings containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. PZ3, Second reading ordinance, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission with attachments amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, Miami 21 Code, more specifically by amending Article 3, titled General to Zones, to clarify density and intensity calculations inclusive of right-of-way dedications, and to require provisions of a deed and a survey showing right-of-way dedication since the last recorded plat, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. PZ4, first reading ordinance, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, Miami 21 Code, by amending Article 1, titled Definitions, to update the definitions of ancillary dwelling units and related structures by amending Article 3, titled General to Zones, to introduce ancillary dwelling unit regulations and design standards, by amending Article 4, titled Standards and Tables, to clarify the transect zones and residential types that allow for ancillary dwelling units, to clarify parking requirements, and to update related illustrations by amending Article 5, titled Specific to Zones, to clarify building disposition and building configuration standards, and to update related illustrations pertaining to ancillary dwelling units and other related structures. By amending Article 6, titled Supplemental Regulations, to update ancillary dwelling unit minimum and maximum unit sizes and applicable waiver processes. By amending Appendix A, titled Neighborhood Conservation District, Section A.2, titled Village West Island District and Charles Avenue NCD2, and Section A.3, titled Coconut Grove Neighborhood Conservation District NCD3, to clarify regulations pertaining to ancillary dwelling units and related structures, making findings, containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. PZ5, first reading ordinance, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, as amended, Miami 21 Code, by amending Article 7, Section 7.2, titled Nonconformities, Structures, Uses, Lots, Site Improvements, and Signs, to provide for reestablishment of specific purpose design structures that are locally designated historic site or contributing structures in a historic district for the uses in which they were designed by warrant, and for reestablishment of specific purpose design structures that are 50 years or older by process of exception, making findings, containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. PZ6, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, by amending Article 5, titled Specific to Zones, to allow increased height for solid wooden fences in the first layer for properties in the T3 suburban transect zone, making findings, containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. And that's it for the PZ items.
Okay. No one wanted to pull a PZ item, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you want to pull? Which one would you want to pull?
Yes, I want PC1.
PZ1? You want to pull PZ1?
PC4.
PZ4.
PC6.
And PZ6?
To be voted individually.
To be voted individually?
That's right, because
Okay. That's okay.
I have my questions on it, and it will determine the answers that I get. It will determine which way I want to vote.
Okay. So Commissioner Reyes would like to. Well, let's take up the ones that have not been pulled. May I have a motion for PZ 2, 3, and 5?
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now,
That was 5, 2, and 3.
it
right?
was 2, 3, and 5.
Okay.
So we have 1, 4, and 6 has been pulled, and PZ 7 was deferred until.
Was it fair?
Okay. Future legislation.
It's only on there for notification purposes.
So we have said future legislation is only there for notification purposes. It is now.
Madam Chair? Unfortunately, I have a script. We're moving the attorney-client session to the next meeting, so I have to read a script for that
Okay,
meeting.
could you read your script, please?
Thank you so much. Madam Chairwoman and members of the City Commission, pursuant to the provisions of Section 286.011, parentheses 8 Florida statutes, I am requesting that at the City Commission meeting of February 27, 2025, an attorney-client session closed to the public be held for purposes of discussing the pending litigation in the matter of William O. Fuller, Martin Pania II, the Barlington Group LLC, Calle Ocho Marketplace LLC, Yo Amo Calle Siete LLC, Little Havana Arts Building LLC, Little Havana Arts Building 2 LLC, Tower Hotel LLC, Brickell Station LLC, Piedra Villas LLC, Futurama LLC, El Shopping LLC, Beatstick LLC, Viernes Culturales, Cultural Fridays Inc., Little Havana Bungalows LLC, and LHAB Trust LLC versus City of Miami, Joe Carollo in his individual capacity, Arthur Noriega in his individual capacity, Victoria Mendez in her individual capacity, Rachel Dooley in her individual capacity, ACL Marrero in his individual capacity, Daniel S. Goldberg in his individual capacity, William Ortiz in his individual capacity, Luis Torres in his individual capacity, Adrian Plasencia in his individual capacity, Renee Diaz in his individual capacity, Yvonne Bayona in her individual capacity, John Doe's 1 through 20, case number 23-CV24251 RAR, pending in the United States District Court, Southern District of Florida, to which the city is presently a party. Subject of the meeting will be confined to settlement negotiations or strategy sessions related to litigation expenditures. This private meeting will begin at approximately 10 a.m. or soon thereafter as the commissioner's schedules permit and conclude approximately 1 hour later. The session will be attended by the members of the City Commission, which include Chairwoman Christine King, Commissioners Miguel Angel Gabella, Damian Pardo, and Manolo Reyes, the Chief Financial Officer, Larry M. Spring Jr., City Attorney George K. Weissman III, Chief Deputy City Attorney John Greco, Deputy City Attorney Kevin R. Jones, Assistant City Attorney Supervisor Eric Eves, Assistant City Attorney Marguerite Snyder, and outside counsel Raquel A. Rodriguez Esquire, Angel Cortinez Esquire, and Jonathan Caskel Esquire. A certified court reporter will be present to ensure that the session is fully transcribed and the transcript will be made public upon the conclusion of the litigation. At the conclusion of the attorney-client session, the regular commission meeting will be reopened, and the person chairing the commission meeting will announce the termination of the attorney-client session. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And at this time, it is afternoon. Do you want to break for lunch, take a break for lunch, and come back and take up the rest of what is the pleasure of this body?
Well, ma'am, if you want to take the PCs that I pulled, and just have a couple of questions.
We can't hear.
Can't hear. Can't hear.
I think what he's saying, and I was going to make that recommendation too, since the PC items are not in any way controversial per se, because it's not an issue of having a commissioner missing, you could probably take those 3 items up and then maybe break for lunch. I think
That's fine with me. I'm asking. Fine with me. You're good with that? Okay, PZ1, Commissioner Reyes had issues.
That's right. You know that I always been against this, parking exceptions, and is this 100% parking exception? Hello.
Yes. Through the chair, this is an exception for a reduction of parking. The request is for to provide 5 spaces, of which 28 spaces are required.
Well, you know how I feel about it. It is 100% parking reduction. That's what it is.
So the permit is the 100% request. They are not reducing 100%. The developer is looking to provide 5 spaces, of which
how many spaces?
They're providing 5.
5. Wow, how generous! So you know how I feel about it, and the way that and you can call a vote on it, and the vote is going to be no.
So just to provide some additional context, Commissioner, they are eligible to request this given the proximity to transit. So they are within the Calmer Station. Calmer Station is within half mile of this property. This is what they're requesting.
Yes, and I do understand that the philosophy is if you are close to any Calmer Station or any other station, that it by logic, the people that live close to it, they are going to take the mass transit instead of parking or owning an automobile, and which I don't believe that will be the case, because I have seen it. I've seen it in downtown Miami, and I've seen it in other areas. Miami is automobile oriented city, and I think that total reduction of parking is not I'm gonna be consistent in the way that I have been since day one. Okay, so if you want to call,
Can I just, Commissioner Reyes, can I just chime in real quick since it is in my district? You know, I kind of agree with you. So I was just talking to Frank. I kind of agree with you. I've been told the reason is it's a small building. But maybe we should defer this because I kind of do agree with you that, you know, no parking at all. I mean, can you hear me?
Yes. So Commissioner Gabella in his district would like to defer it to get more information. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
move it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item is
Chair,
deferred
so-
until when?
Till the next meeting so we can learn more. Why is it that they're asking?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he's right, and I am also concerned.
Okay. Till February 27th.
That's fine.
All righty.
And that was unanimous.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
was unanimous.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. PZ4.
This is the ancillary dwelling units, and I have a question here. I've been asking. Because I have a concern for the single-family homes and the neighborhoods. Yeah, you see, what I don't want, I want to see legislation that will limit this ancillary units to certain, I would say, certain instances or certain cases. And because what I'm afraid of is that many people will come buy house, and then start either dividing it or building 800 square feet if they have the space. You see, and one of the one of my concerns is that it could be used and abused, and I would like to see some legislation that will stop that.
Okay. So this is my item, and let me. I received a text on this item that's not agreeing with it. The intent of the item is for single-family properties, correct? For single-family properties, we already have an ADU code on the books where you could build up to 750 feet.
So yes, today under T3L, you could build a ADU that's 750 square feet in size.
So we're adding 100.
No, 50.
100 and
No. We're
100.
adding. So the total that is allowed is 800 under this legislation.
Okay.
So 50 square.
Oh, so we're adding 50 square feet. So the concern is that somebody would go and tear down their house and build 2 duplexes or something like that. But that's not the intent of this legislation, or it's not as I understand it. This is to build like in-law quarters. And we're just adding 50 feet to the existing code.
So there are additional criteria, Madam Chair, if I may, there are additional criteria that we have added to kind of alleviate some of those concerns as it relates to the setback, as it relates to the height, the percentage of lot that these can be placed on, parking requirements, the entrances of these spaces, if they are attached to the single-family residence. So we have added that criteria that does not exist today.
Okay, so we've added safeguards. It's increasing by 50 feet. Does it apply to T3O?
But this is for like an in-laws, right? Isn't this is not, doesn't apply to this is only for a single, right?
Right, single.
Homestead properties, right?
And it's for homestead properties,
if you are to rent these out, it is for homesteaded properties.
Homesteaded properties. Now, does it apply
Only
to
homesteaded properties,
only
right?
homestead properties? Does it apply to T3O?
So this change would expand it. Today, it's only allowed in T3L. It would expand it to T3R, L, and O, as well as T4, T5, and T6.
Okay, but it
These additional units, they could be rented, right?
Yes, they can be rented if the property is
It is not the granny
homesteaded.
flat that we have been talking about all the time.
But only if the property is a homestead property.
And what happened when that property is sold?
What happens when the property is sold?
If the property is sold and the person that buys the property, doesn't want, is not going to homestead it, but he already has the unit and the house or whatever, and the building.
Right. So that's an enforcement issue. So if the new buyer is not willing to homestead the property, they're not eligible to rent that out as a separate unit.
Who's going to police that, sir? Who's going to police it?
The compliance office would be responsible for that.
You sure? Because you see, one question that I have had for a long time is who is policing all the apartments that has been and I would say that being proffered to the city in exchange for additional units or additional density, and those apartments that they're supposed to be 80% or 60% AMI. Who is policing that?
So that's a valid concern, I think, though. But the neighbors the neighbors could report it. I brought
that is a comité de defensa de Cuba.
Right, but I brought this forward because I had a constituent come to me who would like to build an ADU for her daughter, she's a president of a nonprofit. She's not making a lot of money. She's making a decent salary, but not enough to buy a home in Miami in this housing crisis that we have. It was not my intent for it to be some kind of boon for people to go tear down their home, build duplexes or anything like that. It's not that. It was 50 additional feet and all of the other safeguards that Director Snow talked about so that she could build this accessory dwelling unit for her daughter and her grandson, that they could a decent space for them to live. It's 800 feet. It's not, a huge.
Madam Chair, I agree with you. I think it's an excellent idea, but this is not limited to family members, that you can rent it to family members. You can rent it to anybody. And also another question that I have is if a person wants to divide their homes and it has a T3, he wants to divide it, according to this, they can do it.
So that wasn't my intent either, to divide a home. Director Snow doesn't allow
that's what I want
divide
clarification.
a home.
And
also, how we're going to police.
Part of this
I think
legislation,
the idea it is great, as long as we keep it we have the reins of it. You see, because if not, knowing my people, I know that it's going to be a free for all in so many areas.
So, Commissioner, also part of this legislation is that we've cleaned up our definition of what an ancillary dwelling unit is, also the other structures that would be related. So a single family structure, so that we understand the distinction between the two. So it's clear. We don't have that clarification today. So from an enforcement perspective, it makes the enforcement officers' lives much easier.
And you can't have like an Airbnb and stuff like that.
Yes.
This legislation does not promote the Airbnb. that may be a state thing that the city attorney's office may want to talk about, but this does not create a mechanism for Airbnb for ADUs.
And it doesn't prevent it either.
Be rented out.
So you can rent it out.
Like there's no restriction for 30 days.
As far as short-term versus long-term, we don't specify that here.
It has to be a
Yes.
homestead property, though. Right,
Still
but it,
rent out the,
So
you can rent it out, but it has to be your homestead property.
Right. You know, the other side with the conversation regarding Airbnbs is that, you know, these are very small units. So they're not going to create the problem, an Airbnb problem like you have with the larger houses, the party houses, right? You know, you may have somebody that's renting it for the weekend, one person or a couple, right? But in any case, you know, the short-term conversation, you know, it's very specific to just rental only.
See, I don't have anything against the idea. I think it's a wonderful idea that could help a lot of, particularly a lot of retirees that they are now struggling with their taxes and all the insurance, home insurance, and all of that. Yes, it could be very helpful for them. But I think that we have to really, really constrain them and define what uses and how they're going to, if the property is sold, how are we going to treat it? Because if we are now treating only the homesteaded properties, if that property is sold, the person that doesn't want to homestead it is still will be able to rent it. But the additional unit or the auxiliary unit, and nothing happens. And those were the questions, Madam Chair. I don't want you to think that I want to rain in your parade, but those are the kind of questions that I asked, and I never got any answer about it. And that's why I feel like this. I think that it is a great idea, but it has to be constrained.
So did they answer your questions appropriately? Have your questions been answered?
No, ma'am.
Sorry, Commissioner, as far as the question regarding the rental aspect, is that the question that you have?
Commissioner, would you like staff to meet with you during the break to talk about this, and we can take it up after the break?
Ma'am, if you want to take the votes now, if you have the vote, fantastic. But I'm expressing my concerns.
Okay. So I have a motion.
If you want to take the votes, fantastic.
Madam Chair, sorry. Just said that's a point of clarification on the size aspect. Today, ADUs are 450 square feet. We're adding a maximum allowance of 800, but it's based on a percentage of your lot. Most of our single-family lots in the city of Miami are 5,000 square feet. 10% of that would get you 500 square feet. So that's majority of these would be about 500 square feet in size. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Up to the max of 800. It can't go over 800.
Correct. So if you have a larger lot, you could do 800.
Listen, in Flagami, for example, it would be just like if you have an additional, because most of the houses they have by that renting part of the house, but you would be able to do it 500 or 400 and be able to rent it, and that's something that is true. You know, most of the houses here they have efficiencies, and the efficiencies they've been used to subsidize the rents and subsidize the mortgages.
Okay, look, I'm going to be voting. I think we should defer. Is what I think until the Commissioner Reyes has more information. So that's what I think. My 2 cents.
Want to defer it?
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
Is that okay with you?
That's fine with me. So may I have a motion to defer?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Item will be deferred until the February 27th meeting.
Madam Chair, I'm requesting a meeting with the planning department and try to answer the questions that I have. I like the idea. I like the idea, and I know that it's going to help a lot of people, particularly elders that they have struggling, and they are in fixed income, and they're struggling to pay the taxes and the insurance if they can get insurance.
Okay. You had a question on PZ6.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gavella.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Commissioner.
What about PZ6? You pulled PZ6 for discussion?
I'm actually against PC6 because I think you guys recommended denial.
They recommended denial. I think we're all against.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with
Okay.
Commissioner Gavella, and I don't know how police feel about this. I have heard that the police department, they have an issue with it.
So
the issue is that they don't have a clear view of the
well, PZ6 is sponsored
front
by
of the house.
PZ6
So
is sponsored
I am
by
going to join my
Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Reyes.
Commissioner Gavella. I'm going to vote against.
Commissioner, PZ6 is sponsored by Commissioner Carollo, so we'll just wait until after lunch to take that up when he comes back. Okay? So, at this time, I'm going to recess the City of Miami Commission meeting for February 23, 2025 until 2:30.
Okay, can I just say?
Absolutely.
So I'd like to thank you, Commissioner Reyes, for making the effort to attend. And I'd also like to thank Commissioner Pardo for making the extra effort to attend with the problem that he has with with his leg. And,
Thank you.
And I hope we can take all this up later on.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I want to ask you. I want to tell you that I haven't been there in person because I was under strict order from my doctor to try to stay away, given the epidemic of flu and all the other respiratory diseases. That I stay away from crowds and
absolutely
just for a little while.
That's good, smart, good, smart advice. See you back at 2:30.
Thank you.